Time is 6 minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's the Rocket Hour. Y'all are now tuned in. Time to hit the pick four that you'd love to win. If your money's coming slow, step on the faster track with your host, Ricky Pasternak. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Rocket Hour. We're here on a Thursday doing Keeneland once again after what I would describe as a frustrating sequence yesterday, Ricky. It feels like we were around it, but then again, we weren't even close to hitting it. So I don't know. I went to bed frustrated last night. How about you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I went to bed frustrated, but I was frustrated in the moment.
Fair.
Just because just missed on one, and then luckily the 14 lost for the sake of the ticket yesterday, because I would have been very upset if I had gotten that 9-1 home. There was a good Andy B and Cone little segment, if you guys are interested, based on why they scratched Diamond Wow out of the Darley Alcibiades or Alcibiade. I don't know how they pronounce it, whatever. Nonetheless, they ended up drawing the outside there and then drew the outside yesterday as well, which obviously is just bad luck. So there's a little article there, but it was that's definitely a good angle, I think, to keep forward. If you see a horse that's scratched going to a second race about a week later, it's not a fitness or a health issue. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, it was a good race. We're done with the Breeders' Cup. Winning, you're in. So it's kind of smooth sailing for the next couple weeks as we kind of build this beast that we have in just over 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. That was a pretty good little thing. I saw that as well. That was really cool to kind of get an inside look of what was happening there with that horse. I don't know about you, but when the 6 in the 5th race just flew home and won, I thought we're not going to win because we should have singled there. We both said it was likely winner, and I thought, no, we don't have enough bullets because we didn't single there. And now, we're too short in these other races. I knew we were screwed when that happened, even though we both won and advanced to the next leg. I just thought, we're screwed.
At least I was able to get that 5 in second though. That was it was a distant second. It was not a close second, but it was second. Yeah, it's that 6 was probably the most likely winner of the meet, to be quite honest. But hey, you know what? We live and we learn.
That's right. Yeah, I like I said, we screwed it up, and I just knew it's like, oh, this isn't going to go our way today. We screwed up the first race there. I'll go ahead and put the ticket up now. We got some people tuning in. Dennis is here. Good morning to Dennis as well. Jared Bush is back. He said he hadn't played in 6 weeks, but he's ready to go. So we'll see what happens with Jared today. Hopefully you can share your thoughts while we go along. And Sydney's back again. And yeah, good to see everybody. And then also Charles, he said it. I think he said it yesterday. Why was the 2 in the last leg 30-1 and 1? Yeah, we had people that liked the 2 on the show yesterday. So we put the comments up. So if you're watching, you may have gotten to the 2. And then Sydney says tough day, but the 2 in the last made her day. That horse is 30-1, went off at 17-1 and 1. So yeah, that was a horse, like I said, you and I didn't have on the ticket, but a lot of us talked about that horse yesterday. And so, even though we kind of messed that up, maybe some people listened to the commenters and put that horse, in. So, all right, let's move on, though, to today. Yesterday is ancient history. We got to put that in our rear view mirror. Say that 5 times fast, and we'll go to today. So races 7, 8, 9, and 10 at Keeneland is where we will be at today, the pick 4. And we'll start with race 7. It's a maiden special weight on the turf, going 1 mile and 3/16 for maidens, obviously fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. The scratches are not up on Equibase yet, so you will not see them on our sheet here. But I do have them listed. They are out. The 1A, the 8, the 11, and the 14. They are all out of this race here, the 7th race. Looks like you and I have pretty similar thoughts here. You went 3 deep. I went 4 deep. But your 3 are the 3 that I also use as well, and I threw in one more. So I'll let you go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah, my top two choices are horses that don't have a ton of experience. That's really the theme for me, and that's the 2 and the 12. The 2 English Treasure, obviously a ton of European pedigree with English Channel and then Perfect Soul on the bottom side. Should have no issue traveling 9.5 furlongs. We're going to see all these horses really make 2 stretch runs. Obviously, the first stretch run, just breaking from the gate, kind of sorting themselves out into the first turn. And then we're going to have that second stretch one, which obviously will be to close the race. I kind of like where she draws here. I think drawing the rail for a horse with experience isn't the worst thing. Obviously, all these horses haven't won, hence it's a maiden race. But I think she showed the ability to be close enough last time that I don't think she's going to get buried. She was 7 by 5. That's not really that bad in a 10-horse field. Ellis Park actually drew 10 horses, which is a little shocking. Yeah, I think she'll be just fine. Obviously, if you're looking at the past performances like I am, with the 1A coming out, but originally, entered as an also eligible, the posts are a little different. So the 1 is going to go from the 8, and the 2 will be on the rail. I don't think that's an issue if anyone had a concern. The other one that I thought was interesting is the 12, Fastest Flight, who breaks from the 12 from the far outside. In her one race that she drew to the far outside, she was all the way out there. She was 5th, but she was last for a moment, and she closed with ease. She did not have that same kick, though, when she was extended, but she was closer. So early on. So it really depends on how you want to look at a horse like the 12. She's shown the ability to run well at a sprint and a distance. She's going to go a little longer again. I don't believe off the top of my head as I'm looking, any of these horses really have a ton of that experience. I think the 7 has gone this distance, the 5 as well. At Saratoga, they'll run it. That's about it, other than Keeneland. So many don't. But I just think these horses, the top 2 for me, the 2 and the 12, just kind of trying this for the second, third time, just racing in general. That's a good theme to go off of. Some of these horses are never going to win at this level, and they'll have to drop for a tag.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had the 12 on top, and I had the 2 in second. So we're on the same 2 as far as the top 2. I don't know that I have to get into it too much more than what you said. I think logically they both make sense. The stretch out and distance makes sense for both of them. Me and people that have watched the show consistently have probably heard me say it. Once we get like some races established, I don't care a whole lot about the pedigrees because you kind of just know what the horses are. But when we're going long on the turf, that is one of the exceptions where I do look at the pedigrees a little bit more because they tend to show out in these races, right? And so you look at the 2 by English Channel out of a mare that's overseas, and you're like, yeah, the 2 mile and 3/16 on the turf, that's perfect. That's what we want there. So I definitely like your 2 and 12 there in the angles you kind of talked about. The one horse you didn't use that I did was the 1. Bella Conchita, is that how we would say that?
I would have said Bella Conchita.
Conchita. Hey, I was close.
Close. You were close.
I did include this horse. I am a bit worried that this horse has had too many chances, and it's just like this horse may just kind of always be a bridesmaid, never be the bride type of thing. I mean, we've seen it now with 6 starts. The horse has, ran well in the last 3 for sure. But just hasn't been able to finish the job. Last time out at Kentucky Downs was 7 to 5, ran pretty well, a mile and 5/16 turf maiden, but got beat 3/4 of a length. But it was close. I don't know. I just feel like someday this horse is going to win. She certainly has the numbers that makes you think she's got a shot here, and just that past performance line is pretty solid. As well. So I put the 1 in, and then what about the 7? We both use the 7. I don't know if you mentioned it or not. Last time out at Saratoga, I just feel like she kind of ran into a monster a little bit. That horse, a Baby Blith, as we were talking about, just ran a huge race, but this horse still ran well behind her. The last 2 speed figures for the 7 make her, I wouldn't say the 1 to beat, but one you really have to consider. If you look at time form like we do, the 1:06 spotlight for the 7 is higher than anybody else. So I threw the 7 on the ticket as the 4th choice here. As far as her, like, if you want to bet this horse at 5 to 2 to win, gosh, I'm not quite sure. but I think this horse is reasonable here, and one you need to throw on the ticket to try to get through.
Yeah, so for me, the difference between the 1 and the 7 is more of the competition. I think the running in New York is better than the running here at Kentucky. And when it comes to these maiden special weight on the turf, why do I say that? Well, you have runner at Churchill Downs, they close right at the end of June, and then they're kind of done. I think a lot of horses at that moment, if they are able to win, they go on and they have that experience more than the horses at Saratoga. I think a lot of horses that come to Saratoga or Del Mar, but really here at Keeneland, you're going to see a lot more Saratoga. I think that's more that prime spot that a lot of good trainers, owners, connections really wait for the summertime to debut these horses. I just think that's more of the normal pattern. Again, a horse will run when the horse is ready more times than not. That's just the way it is. I just think the overall crop I find to be a little bit better in New York. So that's the difference as to why I use the 7. The time form spotlight is just another piece. Again, if you look at this like a research paper, that's another piece of supporting evidence that the time form comes back.
Yep.
The other problem with Aaron touched on it with the 1. What was really her excuse last time?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can give me that it was Kentucky Downs. Okay, fine. But she really should have, she was sitting right there. It was just an extremely slow first half, 50-1, almost 50-2. And she just never really made up the ground. You're supposed to be able to make up 2 lengths. And she would only have to go 3 wide or, into the stretch. The comment says gaining, which she was, but it wasn't that kick. The 7, on the other hand, again, if we just go through the races this year, the first one, it was off a long layoff. I don't care about. Then almost won, and then ran into an absolute beast last time out. So you can look at it a few different ways. She's 4 years old as well. And then the Aaron final point, I think the 2 and the 12 are the win bets. If just pick one over the other, I don't think the 7 provides any value, and I have no interest in the 1. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried about the 1. Jared Bush says traffic was her excuse last time out. I don't know. I don't think it was as bad. I don't know. I think it more than anything, it was just it's a mile and 5/16 at Kentucky Downs, and she once again showed that she can run long on the turf and run a consistent effort. It's just one of these times she is going to win. I'm confident of that. Let's talk about some horses in the comment section now. Ben Colbert's horse, the 6, is dangerous. And Dennis also mentions the 6 a little bit as well. Just one race under the belt for the 6. 20-1 morning line, by the way. One race under the belt. It was a 6.5 furlong maiden special weight at Kentucky Downs. Didn't do a whole lot of running, but did close decently to make up, looks like about 6 lengths on the leader. But unfortunately, 6 beaten 7 1/4. Now we're stretching out for the first time. I don't know. I think this is kind of a wait and see horse for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I mean, if you want to blow things up, I don't hate it. Yielding turf course. She closed, but they went 22-4, 22-2.
Mm-hmm.
So over yielding turf. I mean, to be honest, she's supposed to close. She was last. If you don't close, then you're horrible. To be quite, I like that. That's one of those things where it's like a false close for me. Like that. I don't know if that you're closing after horses are traveling that fast over a yielding turf course. I mean, I could find worse horses than her. So let's just leave it at that.
Let's get one more comment in here before we move on to the next race. And Charles says the 3 Flanagan's Cove makes a lot of sense here. Nice bid last time out. The downside was at Colonial, which does have a nice turf course. Yeah, the Colonial form is always kind of interesting to read. It's a beautiful, beautiful course. There's no question. One of the best in the country, maybe, as far as condition. Same time, it's iffy what's there. Sometimes you get a few nice horses, and sometimes you'll get a field of horses that just aren't great at Colonial. The 3, I do think, makes a little bit of sense. Ran pretty good last time out, like you said, Charles. The Colonial thing is why I didn't include Ricky. Is that kind of similar for you? What do you think of the 3?
Yeah, I'll sum it up. If she's not winning a Colonial, she's not winning a Keeneland. I just don't see it. Like, I'm gonna sum it up. That she does make sense, but not coming. This is a significant upgrade, at least from the track. Maybe the fields aren't that much different, but she's not supposed to win here.
Yeah, I think that was it. I couldn't same. Easiest way to say it is same. I just couldn't get over that Colonial form. I just don't know what that's all about. Horse did run pretty well last time out, Charles. So I'm not going to totally talk you off that horse. And in these long turf races, sometimes class doesn't mean as much as say hey, I can run long on the turf and some of these other ones can't. Although in this race, it seems like a lot of these are bred for the turf. So, all right, let's move on to the 8th race, though. We can't spend all day on that one. We're back on the dirt for this one. So it's an allowance race here on the dirt going 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds and upward. Another really good race here. Scratches in this one, the 2, the 3, and then 13, 14, and 15. That's who's out of this one. All right, Ricky, I think we've got a couple of solid runners in here that might go on to be something. You went 4 deep. I went 2 deep. So I'll let you get into it.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the 2 you didn't use, even though the 2 you used I'm also including on the ticket. I thought the 5 Milliken for Ian Wilkes just obviously ran off the screen, and this is more so, how can I not include him off of that effort? The way he ran, the way, to win by 8 lengths in a maiden special weight on debut, yeah, we can make fun of the group potentially, but it's still an impressive race nonetheless. I don't really know if he's going to be any good facing winners, horses that I actually think have stakes potential. But the problem is we don't know if he has stakes potential. We just don't know enough about him. Took money on debut. A great pedigree as well by Into Mischief. I'm going to include there. And then the 9 Bears Watching. I know he wasn't great at Churchill Downs last time out. And I would have told you that betting a horse at 3 to 5 off of that kind of off a 6-month layoff is stupid after they've only won 1 race at the maiden special weight level. This isn't a grade 1 horse off 6 months. This is a horse that have run 2 races and won 1 of them. I expect a big bounce back performance. I think the tote board will give us the answer to the 9. If this horse still floats at 5, 6 to 1, probably not his day. If he's 5 to 2, 3 to 1, or by some miracle still 4 to 1, I think we're going to get a good indication that this horse can run. And again, he's been bet in his last 2. So that's where I'm going to go with the 5 and the 9. I agree on the 6 and 8. I'm just trying to get the best price here. I think these 4 are much above the best. And I think they're kind of in a group that they all kind of seem similar, at least at this moment in their career.
I did make a typo there, and I apologize to people. I had the 5 and 6. Those were the 2 horses, not the 5 and 8, or 6 and the 8. I don't know what I was doing there, but anyway, that is corrected now on the screen. It'll be the 5 and the 6, and I will touch on your 5 real quick. I put the 6 on top. I'll get to him in a second, but with the 5, I'm with you. You said it, and then I agree. I think this horse could be a monster. That race last time out was at Ellis Park, and I think sometimes people go, well, it was at Ellis. I don't know. Ian Wilkes, sometimes he just has these kind of horses in the barn that just look like monsters, and I think this is a good next step. He's usually very patient, and I think he's done a nice job entering here in an allowance race. Jared Bush is taking Milliken as well. Charles, listen, everybody thinks this 5 is a monster, so maybe the 5 will finish last since we're all, on this horse. So yeah, the 5 certainly, I'm with you. I think this is the horse you've got to include. I think the 6 Olympiad is really, really interesting to me as well. You look at this horse, broke the maiden against Cattle River, Greatest Honor. That was the maiden that everybody was talking about. Really, really good race. They're a key race, if you want to call it that. And even the race he lost on debut, he ran well. He just got beat by Reinvestment Risk, who at one time was really, really good. The problem is the allowance last time out, right? Because Baby Yoda beats him by 4.5, but Olympiad runs very, very fast and has a very good speed figure out of it. Baby Yoda did no running last week, right? in the Vosburg as a. I don't think the horse went off as a favorite. I think it was second choice, but bet down hard. No running at all. Could have been a bounce. Could have been this race is dressed up. That's what makes me worried about the 6. I'm going to think the 6 is going to run big here. Gets Flavian Proud aboard today. I think that's good. The way I looked at it, I think the 5, it could be a monster. The 6 could be a monster. And I don't hate that you went 4 deep there, Ricky. I really don't. It's not a knock. The other 2 horses I have in the top 4 are the same as yours. But I don't know if the 8 or 9, I don't look at them and go, I think they could be a monster, So I think for them to win, and again, I don't think it's impossible. I think we have to have overvalued that 5 and that 6. That's where I was at. That's why I went too deep here. I think one of these 2 are really going to run a big race here.
Yeah, I mean, it's more so just having the coverage for me, to be quite honest. I understand where you're coming from. I just don't feel that strongly about anyone. I just think these 4. I mean, it's tough at the end of the year. Some of these horses aren't going to have a ton of races left. But early on, if we look at this race now and mark it down October 14, and then we 2021, and then we do the same thing 2022, I'm guessing 2 or 3 of these horses are going to be completely different. They're no longer going to be allowance runners. They're either going to be in for a tag, or they're going to have stakes competition or stakes races on the pedigree. With that being said, like I said before, they're all kind of in the same boat now. I don't know where they're going to be. And so with that being said, I just wasn't able to really decipher, between the 2. So that's just kind of where I'm at there.
I touched on this for a second, and I didn't really give you a chance to comment on this Baby Yoda race, and Steve brings it up here. Is that speed? What do you think about that race? Let's just put it that way. What do you think about that Baby Yoda race where Olympiad was 2nd and Ducal was 3rd?
I mean, we'll use the New York. Let's start with the New York bias. I'm always going to have New York bias just because that's kind of where I'm at. From a speed figure perspective, I have to rewatch that race. I didn't really look into the speed figures. I don't know why they came back that way. I guess maybe this is a good point to bring up, that maybe speed figures always aren't the most accurate thing to go off of. Let's just start there. Obviously, watching replays is the best. I still think it was a decent performance after all that. Like, Baby Yoda runs off the screen, and Olympiad also went off at 7-1. So just off the odds, we're now I'll bring, you guys aren't gonna see this because I'm not sharing the screen. Baby Yoda goes off at 6-1. And Ducal, who also popped up in this group as an also eligible, was the favorite, just short of 5-2. It was 2.45. I mean, what do I make of it? I mean, I don't know. I don't really. I just think it was a solid race. I don't understand. Olympiad wasn't supposed to win the race based on the odds. So I think showing up here as the morning line favorite probably is about right. And we had Ducal pop up at 7-2, which is the second choice. Again, not running because we have an also eligible, but I don't make that much of it. I just take it as an allowance race. I don't really care about the speed figures all that much when a horse loses by over 4 lengths. For me, that's just kind of where I'm at.
I think Baby Yoda just bounced. I really do. And I think that's what it's gonna really come down to. But Steve, the thing is, if Olympiad doesn't run very well today, I think we can maybe start to say, hey, that was a little bit dressed up. I'm like I said when I was talking about the 6, I'm worried about that. I think that's the biggest concern today. But the one thing with Olympiad, you do have those races as a 2-year-old where he was running pretty well against good company. I know it was a long time ago. So maybe he just kind of is a decent horse. He's not going to bounce. I don't think he ran like the race of his life last time out, like Baby Yoda did. I don't know. I think he's going to be right there in the mix. There was a question Dennis said about the 14 Ducal, and then Steve said did not draw in today. That is correct. Also, Dennis, Friday or Saturday, I've done both days, and I can't remember which one. Ducal is entered back on Friday or Saturday, so watch out for him. and I apologize. I think it's Saturday, but I'm not 100% sure. Sydney asked a question, and it was about your 8 horse. And she thinks that after watching past races, that horse is going to be tough. And so maybe you went 4 deep is right. Well, there you go, Dennis. You knew the answer. It is Saturday. Yeah. So Saturday, Ducal is back. So we'll see what happens there. And also Jared Bush circled the 8 as closing speed. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. The pace here is a little funky. There's not really a burner on the front end, I don't think. So, all right, though, we will go on, though, to race number 9. And, feature race of the day here at Keeneland, race number 9, an allowance going 1.5 miles on the turf. So these are always, kind of like the 7th race we talked about, tricky when you go long on the turf. 3-year-olds and upward, and another large field here. We do have a lot of scratches. The 3, the 10, and then 13 through 16 are all out. Still a large field, still a wide open one, in my opinion. How about you, Ricky? How'd you see this one?
Yeah, I thought this was wide open as well, even though I'm kind of going with some shorter prices. I just think they're a cut above the rest. So I'll talk about the 1 and, well, I'll go with the 1 and the 4 since the 4 is my top choice. I think Fantasioso, I hope I said that properly, just coming out of some races that the horses are just better, right? I don't like, if you've been watching since the start, I do not like Woodbine runners. But when you're coming out of a grade 1 for a $600,000 purse, getting Joel Rosario, I'm going to take note of that. I don't think that effort was very good. It was clearly his worst effort of the year. His first effort was here in the Elkhorn back in April, which I actually didn't think was that bad at 33-1. The 1.5 miles is interesting because you could say, well, he didn't run well there, but he did run pretty well going 2 miles in the Belmont Gold Cup, losing to Baron Samedi. I think I said that right. I think the longer the race, the more the weak horses or the long shots really fade, especially when we're getting into 13 furlongs, 12 furlongs, 13 for, the longer and longer that we go here, we're going 12 furlongs. Horses that aren't capable won't stay around. It's just a grind. I am worried that he's going to be a little bit too far back. That's what the case is. You really want to be forwardly placed, which leads me to the 4, Mud Pie. Mud Pie going 1 5/16 miles. So that's 10.5 furlongs. I know the math gets a little tricky when you add the 16ths in there. Was in a decent spot last time out, and that's what I'm expecting Julien Leparoux to do again. This horse broke the maiden going 12 furlongs. I don't remember the last time that has happened in recent memory. Obviously, it happened since the 4 did it. Did it at Kentucky Downs last September. Then just won again in allowance. Maybe Kentucky Downs is his track. Seems to be that way. But Leparoux is his main rider. I think this is also a rider race. I think the shorter you go, and Aaron, maybe you subscribe to this theory or don't, the shorter the race, the less it matters to me. The longer you go, I think the more important it is because the position early on means so much. We're going to see this horse make 1, 2, 3 turns. So where does Mud Pie sit? I think Julien Leparoux knows where that is. He, obviously getting the call again. I just don't like a lot of other horses. And it's not that I wanted to go short. Like, I'm not in love with the 1, the 4, the 7. I just don't like a lot of others, to be quite honest with you. I think they're moving up too much, or their form is questionable, or the distance is going to be an issue. So that's kind of where I went. You used the 7 as well, so I'm just going to leave that one to you. But I put the 4 on top, and then with the 1, I think the drop in class is pretty significant.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the race where a price comes in, and that's why I did use a couple. For the 4 and 7, I mean, they do seem like kind of more of your logical plays. With the 7 just missed at Kentucky Downs last time out, going long. But Dennis, he says, "Hey, Bama Breeze isn't very good." I'll say it like that, Dennis, and that's why he didn't use the 7. So I get that there is kind of ways to look against. And then also Jared, he likes the 7. He says the 7 with Tyler Gaffleone is one that he's looking at hard there. Mike Maker's kind of been in a little bit of a slump. It's amazing how that kind of happens with trainers like this, but he is in a slump right now. But still, 4 and 7 make a ton of sense. I actually put the 2 on top. If you look at this horse's form, okay, last time out at Kentucky Downs, okay, didn't run very well. But I kind of just drew a line through that. And it's like, okay, normal racing conditions. Those 3 races before that race at Kentucky Downs, the horse looked pretty good. 3 back, 1 at 1.5 miles at Churchill Downs. And this is another horse, I think, kind of what you said with the 4. You don't want somebody way far back here, I don't think. I thought the 2 made sense. Here, I think the 2 can sit a little bit close to the pace and maybe turn for home with the lead. And if that's the case, I think the 2's got a shot to maybe hold them off. So I put the 2 on the ticket there. Like I said, 4-7 also. This one you'll probably make fun of me. What about the 6? I think the 6 is interesting at this distance. Has only had 2 races in this country. The first one was an allowance at Churchill going a mile. Did not look good. Then was off for a year. Came back last time out at Arlington. Ran an allowance going a mile and 16th. Wasn't great. Got beat. Got 4th, beaten 2.5. But it really just seemed like to me the 6 horse was just getting going when they hit the wire. We're at 1.5 miles. We've got an international pedigree. I don't know. I just have a feeling the 6 is going to run a big race today. I like the 20-1. I like this horse second off the layoff, stretching out in distance. I'm going to give it a shot, Ricky. I know you're rolling your eyes. I'm going to give the 6 a shot in this spot.
How's the weather been in your neck of the woods?
It's been rainy.
Oh, it's been raining. Oh, but no imposition on driving or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure your pharmacy has been open. You've been able to get your meds. You've been able to take care of yourself. Heather's been able to take care of you because we couldn't be any different on this 6 horse. The best case you could make, and this is a shot in the dark, second off the layoff. Literally, that's the best case you can make.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you can't win an allowance optional claiming at Arlington, and you're not even going to hit the board, that's not true. The best case you can make is Declan Carroll is riding again. That's the best case you can make. He won his last race that he won was an allowance race at I want to get this track right. San Isidro. You know what the purse was? $7,791. That was the last race he won. I'm sorry. The fact that this horse is 20-1 and not 148-1 over a horse like the 12 who just ran in the Turf Cup or Ellis. I'm sorry. I can't get there. Someone enlighten me. Like there's got to be someone in the comments who also likes this horse. It can't just be you.
What was the distance of that race that he won?
1.25 miles.
Ooh, on the turf.
They could have been running on concrete for all I could. The purse was $7,791.
I like this horse getting to 1.5 miles, Ricky. I'm telling you.
I mean, the pedigree's there. I'll give you that, but I think we can go through all these horses and say the pedigree is kind of there. You don't run your horse going 12 furlongs if the pedigree is not there. I think that's a fair statement. A few of them don't, but I honestly wouldn't bet this horse. I wouldn't bet this horse with money stolen by a criminal. Like, no joke. I rather donate the money. I rather use it as toilet paper, use it as a tissue. There's no way I would ever bet this horse.
Last time you had a rant like this against me, you bought dinner at Saratoga. I'm just saying.
Okay, so here's the difference. That horse actually made sense. I just didn't like it. This horse, I'm not even sure if this horse should be in the country. That's the difference.
Oh, look at this.
I mean, can we find the chart of can we find this horse like in the charts just to see what the horse looked like? I'll find it, and
I can't remember what day it was. I think it was Saturday, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do it, and I'll find it, and we'll
See,
The
Dennis
Keeneland
says he
first
loves the
mile
robot, and I'm crazy. So there you go. Hey.
within love. He won within love.
Was it
Okay.
in love? Okay. I thought it was. Didn't want to say it out loud and be wrong. Yeah.
No. I'm wrong all the time.
Well,
So
in
now,
love certainly made a little bit of sense in that race. I'll say that.
yeah. Well, okay. Well, in love. Now that I'm doing this research, in love has won 729,000 in career purses.
Yeah.
Two-thirds of a million, so 667,000 this year. So I don't know if we really can compare In Love to this horse. In Love's also now won 3 in a row. The other one was an allowance optional claiming at Arlington and the TVG Stakes at Kentucky now. So I think to compare this horse that we're talking about now, intraday, to In Love, is kind of like comparing Alex Rodriguez or Mark McGuire or Sammy Sosa to me. That's really what we're doing. It's not fair. You can do it, but it's not fair.
All right, we got to get to a different horse here because Jared Bush, he loves this 9. He loves huge bigly. He says use the 9, huge underlay. What do you think of the 9 horse here, Ricky? I mean, this is another Colonial Downs horse. Then that was kind of the one that broke it off for me. Did win last time out though. What do you think of the 9?
Well, if you like the 2 Cibolian, which you do, then I think the 9 makes a little sense. Lost by 3.5 when they ran here at Churchill Downs, not here at Churchill Downs, but running in Kentucky at this distance. I don't hate him. I can get there.
Yeah.
You better get double-digit odds, though. I will say that much. If you're getting shorter than that, I don't think the value's there. But I don't hate him. Like I could see huge underlay. I don't know if I agree with that, but you should be anything short of 12-1 is a little too short for me.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree that the 9's got a shot here. I couldn't get there on the ticket. Maybe I should have used the 9 instead of the 6. Who knows? I think you would agree with that, Ricky. But I'm going to stick with my 6. Going to stick with my guns. You guys call me crazy. I don't know. Just saying. All right, let's move on though to the last race where Ricky and I use the exact same 3 horses. So we see this one very, very similar. We're going to end it. This is New York style, right? A maiden claiming $15,000 going 6 furlongs. We're back on the dirt here. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. Let's see. The scratches here. We've got the 7. The 7 is out. That's actually a horse I had on the ticket. So the 7 is out. I believe, yeah, that was the morning line favorite. So now we've got a field of just 10. We both used 2, 4, 5, Ricky. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I thought the 7 was going to win this race by 100. To be quite honest with you, but so that changes things. I made the 2 my top choice. Now I don't really know what that was last time out. I'm just gonna kind of chalk that one up. Obviously, came out and bumped at the start. I rewatched that one, and she just didn't look comfortable at all. The Colonial races aren't horrible. One was over a muddy, and then one was her debut. I know I'm making a bit of a meal, just trying to put things together. These horses are horrible. I mean, you're not going to hear a strong opinion. I'll just throw that last race out. And also getting Tyler Gaffleone shows that this horse may be decent and went off at 7-2. The 4 Winsy, I don't know. It's just ultra consistent for the most part, running between 3rd and 5th. Drops down again. Could you imagine running at the 20,000 level and you're dropping again and staying in Kentucky? These are the worst horses at Keeneland. They have to be. They just have to be the worst horses here. But Joe Talamo, more than good enough. I'll just leave it there. Getting back to the dirt, I don't think she's a turf horse. Never seemed to be a turf horse. Then the last one, Cha Cha Mission, only ran once on the dirt. If you look at the official program, it'll say twice. That's because they put the synthetic down as a dirt. I don't know why they do, but they do. Ran here at Keeneland. One of her better races, I think, to be honest, at 30,000 level. I think she makes a lot of sense. These are all going to be short prices. I'm guessing between 8-5 and 3-1, and just pray for the best price. I don't know how else to say it. So that's why I went 2, 4, 5. The other horses really should be on a farm or should be on the beach, frolicking on the sand because they're horrible.
I'm with you. I just went 2, 4, 5 for lack of other options. To be completely fair, honest, however you want to say that. I think the 10 and the 11 are the 2 that could beat us for sure, but I did not like those horses' form very well. I thought about, okay, let's take a first-time starter, because if a first-time starter can run at all, they can definitely win here. They don't look great on paper. The 6, maybe Magic Lamp, that's a horse I thought about. Gets Bejarano aboard. That horse can run any at all. Probably has a shot here, but I couldn't get there. I just think 2, 4, 5 make the most sense on paper. It's a terrible race. Like, this was worse than the New York races we talk about at the end, I think. Don't you? I mean, these horses, some of these, you're right. It's just I don't see any way they're ever going to get a win. And on the flip side, whoever wins this race, I don't like, where are they going to go to win again, right? Like, there just isn't a lot of spots for these horses that can win other than maybe this spot right here.
Yeah, I want to move as quickly as we can out of this race. I don't know if there are comments, but I have nothing good to say about any of them. So.
Of course we do have comments. Come on now. The 9, Flirtatious Kitty. Jared Bush really likes this horse. Coming off a maiden claiming $10,000 race at Churchill Downs. Got 4th, but was beaten 10.5. Any thoughts on the 9? Did you consider the 9 at all?
If anyone has a mare, like a horse, and you have $2 in your pocket, well, you can have a baby, because Arch stands for $2. So if you have a mare, she can produce, and you have $2 in your pocket, you can have a horse. I would never, ever use a horse that's. Could you imagine? Now this horse is stepping up in class. Think about that for a minute. This horse is stepping up off of, what is that? God, it's a 14-month layoff.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That math isn't right.
No, it's almost like a 2-year layoff.
It's like a 22-month layoff. I'm doing the math wrong. I don't know how anyone could say they love a horse in here. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, love may be a strong word, Jared. Maybe a strong word. Steve says, hey, the Dam has 4 winners and 5 starters on the 1st or number 3 American born. That's the kind of angle that could work here. There's no question about it. I don't hate that. And then Sydney said she's also going to give this 3 a shot. So maybe one of these first-timers will jump up and beat a Siriki. I don't know. The problem I have, and I've said it before with first-time starters in maiden claiming races, is you just usually don't start them out at this level. You usually try to give them at least one shot at special weight before you start them out. Or in this case, maybe maiden 50. It's like, okay, maiden 50 claimer, maiden 30 claimer even. It's like, okay, they don't love them, but they think enough of them to kind of sort of protect them. This is just like maiden 15 and we're debuting. I just think that's the bottom of the barrel. That means they think very low of this horse.
The track record is a horse that we know. The court, going 6 furlongs. It was by Nashville in 2020. So almost a year ago. Not quite. November 7th. 107.89. Are you willing to say that whoever wins this race, I say, is 10 seconds off the track record? Over under 9.99 seconds. I'm going to go over. I say this is over. I say we see at least 117.89.
No, they're not going to run 117.
Well, that's going to be the most interesting thing in this race. Now that I've said that, someone chime in before we wrap up the ticket. The track record is 107.89. Will this race be won by anyone? I don't know who. Hopefully the 2, 4, and 5. 117.88, I guess, because 10 seconds would be tying it. So 117.88. Take the under. Okay, so they're saying it's within 10 seconds.
Oh, totally. 117 for 6 furlongs. That a turtle. I mean, they'll get 112, I think. 117. I don't know if I've ever seen a 117 finish for 6 for. I run some terrible race, or I watch some terrible races.
Yeah, maybe not here. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe 117 is a little too bullish. Probably in that
way
one.
Too much.
Maybe in the 113 range, like 114.
If you said it at 113, it would be interesting, I think.
Yeah, okay. I said it at
114 and 1.
All right. Over. Okay, I'm not the only one. Someone says 117. I appreciate that. These horses are horrible. I'm looking at like the horses that have gone 6 furlongs, like the one finished by 12 and a quarter length. That one won 10 and 4. So if you were to have him win, that's, I think every quarter of a length is like a fifth of a second, right? Isn't that the conversion? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that would be like another 5 seconds. Only one trainer has a win at the meet.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Yeah. Who would that
be?
be?
John Ennis.
Okay. Yeah.
Bit of body. If I had to pick another horse before we wrap up, it would be the 11. Just because we're going to see this horse get back to the dirt for the first time in a long time. Her last 2 races weren't brutal. They weren't good, and they weren't brutal. So,
yeah, I mean, like I said, talking about the other ones, I think the 10 and the 11 also make a little bit of sense on paper. And you're right. I mean, you're looking for the least shittiest horse in the field. That's how you handicap this one. So, a lot of fun. All right, like I said, let's wrap it up here. We've talked about this race probably too long. Summarize your ticket here for us, then I'll do the same, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, so I'll start with race number 7. So we're in 7 through 10 here. I just went 2, 7, 12. I'm at bullish on the 2 and the 12. The 7 is more so just because some of the speed figures are better, and the race at Saratoga makes sense, dropping out of the Baby Blythe race. In race 8, I just went 5, 6, 8, 9. I know this is a chalky sequence for me, but we've seen these things pay. Even when they're chalky, still could pay upwards of 250, 300, depending on who comes in. Race number 9, I went 1, 4, and 7. I'm curious to see what to make of this one because I hate Woodbine runners, but got Joel Rosario in that grade 1 stakes race going 1.5 miles. So let's see. Hadn't shown any speed, but I'm curious to see if he shows more speed because the horses aren't as good that he's competing against. And then the final one, race 10, 2, 4, and 5. Again, the other horses who I'm not using, except for the first-time starters, they should all be on a farm, again, or frolicking on the sand somewhere near a beach. So with that being said, it's a 3x4x3x3 ticket, $54. I'm not confident in any specific horse. That's why I went 3 deep, at least in all of them. I think this is a wide open sequence. Even though I kind of see it on the chalkier side, I still think we can get a $250 payout.
Yeah, I think so too. I went 1, 2, 7, 12 to start it off there. Going to go 4 deep, 5, 6 in the next leg. I really think we will see a good performance here. I think the 5 or the 6-1 will show us something. I thought Swiftsure would do that yesterday though, and that did not happen. So we'll see what happens. 2, 4, 6, 7 in the third leg, and then I'll say that final leg we both went 2, 4, 5. Just hope to get through it there. $48 ticket for me. I'm with you. I played a little bit more expensive of a ticket today. I think the value is there a little bit more than yesterday. I thought yesterday we had that heavy favorite in the first leg. I thought we'd get a short price in the third leg as well. So here, I think the races are a little bit more wide open. All right, Ricky, we're going to sign off today. Had to cut it a little bit short. You have Game 5 as your name, though. Explain why you have Game 5 as your name. It's
really a shame that the Dodgers and the Giants are ending it tonight. This series really deserved 7 games. It was the 2 best teams in baseball. One of the things I actually heard this morning, which I thought was interesting, let's see if we could reseed after the wild card game. Okay, you didn't win your division, you play the wild card game, but let's reseed after that because the Giants and Dodgers should not be playing each other right now. And again, because it's a division series, it's a 5-game series. I know it's starting late for people here for like me on the East Coast. You get that hour reprieve. I think it'll be worth staying up till 12, 12:30, 1 a.m. potentially. I expect this to be one of the better games of the whole playoffs. So I'm excited. Dodgers, Giants. I don't even have a horse in the race. Well, a horse in the race. I don't have a team that I'm rooting for. I'm just excited. Again, it's a little bit of a shame that they're ending in 5 games, but that's what it is. Winner take all. There's nothing better in sports than winner take all or a 1-game type of situation. So that's the name for me. Dodgers, Giants, I believe at 9:07 is first pitch. I mean, I won't be watching, but I hope you have a good time watching. I just can't get into it. You're right. The Blues are kicking off tonight, right?
No, they don't play till Saturday, which sucks.
So the season opened up on Tuesday, and they're not
Yes.
playing till Saturday.
Yep.
Someone should call the NHL scheduling committee and figure that one out.
I agree. Sydney and I think, could be really good friends because the best sleeping pill ever is TV baseball. I totally agree.
I do. So one of the reasons I like baseball is, yes, I grew up on it, and it's a big deal. Playoff baseball is extremely different than regular season baseball.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Even you said the other night, well, not the other night, it was like a week and a half ago, and you said you watched every pitch of the Yankee Red Sox playoff game. Yes, that was a 1-game playoff, kind of similar to this, but this was a little different. Again, I find a lot of people that watch baseball are diehard baseball fans. Like, you don't have casual baseball fans, if
Right.
that makes any sense. Like, you can have a casual football or a casual basketball fan. But yeah, I like it. Hey, it'll be worth staying up for. If you like baseball, it'll be worth staying up. If you don't like baseball, then you weren't going to stay up anyway, so it doesn't matter.
It's a good point. Very good point. I do agree with that, and I won't be staying up for it. But everybody enjoy the baseball game if you're watching it today, and we will see you right back here tomorrow. By the way, we're about an hour and 8 minutes away from Dudes Who Bet Sports, so that'll come up here pretty quick. And then Magic Mike show will be at 5:30 Eastern. And then I would say Blinkers Off will probably be about 7:30-ish. No, I'm sorry. Eastern time would be at 8:30-ish. So we'll see what happens there. But we will be on with that. And then we'll be right back here tomorrow on the Rocket Hour, covering Keeneland once again to wrap up the week. So good luck, everybody playing today. And if you like the show, stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up today. So everybody enjoy your Thursday.